warning: this story contains content that may be disturbing to some viewers.
I think that this may very well, in many ways, mark the year that we look back and say, this is when the stigma that we saw associated with mental health really started to collapse.
Carey Price's leave from the NHL is opening doors to conversations about putting mental health ahead of sports, and follows similar leaves taken by athletes in sports like tennis and gymnastics. Now advocates are saying it's imperative we have discussions about our mental health and well-being and not let these emotions and feelings fall by the wayside.
Everybody I've talked to today just feels like this would have been unheard of even 5 years ago. What's your take on that?
I'll tell you what, I almost killed myself 25 years ago, right? Because of it. Unheard of even 5 years ago. So we're at the point now where I think we're in a good place. And as horrific as COVID has been, and I will never, ever say that, COVID has any good things out of it. The only thing that's has made a difference in mental health has been this last couple of years.
Hirsch, who credits hockey for saving his life, says it's important people not jump to conclusions as Price steps away. For instance, making assumptions about how the sport impacted him.
It's not the sport. Hockey saved me. I'm sure Carey Price, hockey saved him. It's what's happened to us along the way. And that might be away from sport. We don't know.
Each person's journey for help is unique, and Matthias says the act of getting help can be tough for many.
And that is a slightly different stigma. And it requires, I think, a different approach, which is basically, hey, you know what? Don't worry about what you think it is. Why don't you come in and talk about it and see what we can do and whether or not that helps.
How do we walk that fine line between having these conversations, but also, taking into account people's personal comfort levels?
There are quite often consequences to sharing your story. Some of those are very positive, and sometimes they can be negative. And I think it's really important to be as consent driven as possible in inviting people in to share a story, and to make sure that, as viewers or listeners to these stories, we're just not consuming the story, that actually we think about the implications of what it takes to share a story.
I am proof that going and getting help, it gets better, a lot better. And if you don't, I promise you, it'll get even worse than what it is. So go get the help. It's there.
If you or someone you know needs help, dial 310-6789 in BC or call the national helpline listed below. In New Westminster, Ria Renouf, City News.